Hello lovely viewers, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful News official YouTube channel, your top destination for the most explosive CBS soap updates. Make sure to smash that subscribe button and give this video a huge thumbs up. A joyous occasion turns chaotic. The episode opens with a celebratory atmosphere as Steffi and Finn prepare for their daughter Hayes' baptism. Family and friends gather, sharing encouraging words about love, unity, and fresh beginnings. However, the joyous occasion takes a dark turn when an unexpected guest arrives, Reese Buckingham, Hope's ex-husband and a man with a troubled past. Reese's sudden reappearance shocks everyone, especially Hope, who had moved on after their tumultuous divorce. His presence stirs up old wounds, and whispers spread through the crowd. Finn, ever observant, notices Grace's nervous demeanor as she exchanges tense glances with Reese. Finn catches Grace secretly meeting her ex-husband. Later, Finn spots Grace slipping away from the reception. Suspicious, he follows her and is stunned to find her in a heated confrontation with Reese. Their conversation is tense, filled with angry threats and hushed accusations. Reese demands something from Grace, but she refuses, warning him to stay away from her family. Finn steps in, demanding answers. Grace, caught off guard, struggles to explain. Reese smirks, taunting Finn before making a cryptic threat, "You have no idea what's coming." Finn, protective of his family, warns Reese to stay away, but the damage is already done. OMG. Reese Buckingham is back, and he's not alone. As the drama unfolds, it's revealed that Reese didn't return alone. He has a dangerous ally, someone with a vendetta against the Forresters and the Logans. Meanwhile, Hope grapples with the emotional fallout of seeing her ex-husband again, while Liam grows increasingly concerned for her safety. Encouraging words versus angry threats, a family divided. The aftermath of Reese's return divides the family. Some, like Brooke and Ridge, urge caution, offering encouraging words to keep the peace. Others, like Finn and Steffi, refuse to back down, ready to fight to protect their loved ones. Reese, however, seems determined to unleash chaos, dropping hints about a shocking secret that could destroy multiple lives. As tensions reach a boiling point, Grace makes a desperate move, leaving fans wondering, what is she hiding? What's next? With Reese's angry threats looming and Finn determined to uncover the truth, the stage is set for an explosive confrontation. Will Grace's secret tear the family apart? And what does Reese really want? At the sanitarium, Bill sits in Liam's room while Grace examines his son. Liam cracks a joke and reflections on Bill not leaving the president in days. Bill had to fight the whole family to get in there and isn't leaving. Grace tells Liam how important he has to live for and way away. Bill perches on Liam's bed and tells him he could have lost him, and it would have been his fault. Liam says Luna's gone now. We're good. Bill's proud of him for saving Steffi. Grace eyeballs them as Bill asks why he didn't tell him about the brain excrescence. "You know I'll do everything in my power to help you." Bill doesn't condemn Liam for keeping him in the dark. Liam wasn't trying to discipline him, he just didn't want to spend their last twinkles together mourning. Bill will do everything he conceivably can to get him through this. The camera kissers. To Grace wiretapping. Liam tells his pater he wants to fight this, and Grace asks Bill to speak alone. They step out. Grace tells Bill what he wants to hear. In another room, Grace tells Bill she could end help eavesdropping. Now Liam wants to fight. Bill asks if it would be in vain. Is there any real stopgap for his son? Grace replies, "What if I told you there is?" Bill points out she told his son the brain excrescence was inoperable. Grace says if he's willing to fight, she might be suitable to help him. She's been probing an experimental treatment that's in its early testing stages, but the results have been promising. It's not commodity the sanitarium could subscribe off on or indeed know about. But it might be the only shot they get. Bill will subscribe the quit claims. Grace warns it's veritably precious. Bill will give her a blank check. "I just have to save my son." Grace is glad he's on board now they've to move Liam. Grace reiterates that what she's suggesting is parlous. She knows Bill wants to make effects right. He'll have to help her move Liam, who wouldn't survive this brain excrescence else. Bill vows he'll get through to him. Eric pops the question. At Forrester, Brooke, Eric and Ridge go over Luna no longer being a trouble. Ridge grunts that Liam saved the day. They lament him having brain cancer. Eric asks Brooke if she'll join him and Ridge on their forthcoming business trip to Naples. They sputter about the Amalfi Coast and Ridge says it's a shame Steffi can't go. Eric asks Brooke again if she'll come. Brooke looks forward to making further beautiful recollections in Italy. Once alone with Ridge, Eric urges him to take some time with Brooke to see the sights in Naples. Ridge reminds him it's not a holiday. It's a business trip. Eric chortles about Italy being magical for him and Brooke. Ridge suggests they just let Brooke enjoy her time without stress, especially with Nick Marone smelling around. In the design office, Nick tells Brooke he heard about the firing. How are you holding up? Brooke says everyone's relieved that Steffi wasn't hurt and Liam's going to pull through. Nick's sure Ridge wants to throw a cortege for him. Brooke says that we'll have to stay until they get back from Naples. Nick shakes his head when she says she's going with Eric and Ridge. What are you doing? He asks. At the Forrester manse, Donna and Taylor bandy the business trip to Naples. Donna talks about holding down the stronghold there and Taylor says Ridge is agitated. She also asks the Golden, what about your family? Do you suppose she'll go? Donna knows that Eric would love for Brooke to go to Naples with him and Ridge. Taylor asks if she agrees with that, with everything going on. Donna thinks it's a great idea, but she actually wants to know how Taylor feels about this. Taylor trusts Ridge. She heard Nick Marone's back in city. Back at Forrester. Taylor arrives in the main office at Forrester as Eric tries to move Ridge's passions about Nick Marone are covetousness. She feels like she's interposing commodity. Eric says he was just giving his son a piece of his mind. Ridge grunts that he respects his father's opinions but doesn't always partake them. Eric leaves and Taylor asks Ridge to set a date for their marriage. They kiss. In the design office, Nick wouldn't let Brooke go down this road with Forrester again. He has business in Italy and wants her to fly to Naples with him. Brooke warns she'll be super busy with meetings every day. Nick will have meetings too, but he'll make time for her. Stroking her arm, he says it's the way she deserves to be treated, especially by a man who really wants to be with her. Kissing her hand, he purrs, "Come to Italy with me." Liam's big chance. In Liam's sanitarium room, Bill tells his son about Grace's offer. He thinks he should seriously consider it, especially after saying he's willing to fight. But time is end on their side, he'll have to make a decision. Liam sensations at there being a chance. Bill says, if you're willing to take it. Grace enters and Liam asks if this is true. There's a chance I could actually live now? Bill Liam BNB. Grace tells Liam there's an experimental surgery, she told his father about it. Bill warns he'd have to do it now. Grace says the projectile crack increases the threat, but they'd have to move forward. She's reserved her co-worker a ticket to LA and the surgery could be performed hereafter. It can't be done in the sanitarium, still. They can't indeed talk about it. Bill urges his son not to pass up this chance. Liam tears up. He wouldn't say no. Yes, I want to live. So, let's do it. Grace hands over the paperwork for him to subscribe. She set up a clinic that's available hereafter and believes in her coworker. Bill says Beth and Kelly can't lose their father. He tells his son, there's nothing braver than you are. Let's do this. Liam clasps his pater's hand and signs the paperwork with the other. Grace smiles. Liam says, hereafter. Bill nods. Hereafter. The first day of the rest of your life. A father's vigil. The sterile hum of the hospital room was the only sound as Bill Spencer sat rigidly in the chair beside his son's bed. His usually sharp eyes were shadowed with exhaustion, his jaw clenched tight as if daring the world to challenge his right to be there. Across from him, Grace, the no-nonsense doctor, adjusted Liam's 4 with practiced efficiency. Liam, despite the pallor of his skin and the bandages wrapped around his head, managed a weak smirk. You planning on ever leaving that chair, Dad? I think you've worn a permanent dent in it. Bill didn't crack a smile. I had to fight off the entire Forrester clan just to get in here. You really think I'm leaving now? Grace stepped back, her expression softening just slightly as she met Liam's gaze. You've got a lot to live for, Liam. Don't forget that. The moment she moved aside, Bill was on his feet, perching on the edge of the bed like a man afraid his son might vanish if he didn't stay close. His voice was rough, barely above a whisper. I could have lost you. And it would have been my fault. Liam exhaled slowly. Luna's gone now. We're good. Bill's throat tightened. I'm proud of you, kid. What you did for Steffi, he cut himself off, shaking his head. Then, sharper, why didn't you tell me about the tumor? Grace's gaze flicked between them, lingering just a second too long before she busied herself with the chart at the foot of the bed. Liam's fingers twitched against the sheets. Didn't want our last moments to be about mourning. Bill's hand clamped over his son's wrist. You listen to me, I'm going to do everything in my power to fix this. Everything. The camera lingered on Grace's face as she hovered near the door, her expression unreadable. Liam swallowed hard. I want to fight this. Grace cleared her throat. Bill. A word? A glimmer of hope. In the cold, fluorescent-lit hallway, Grace folded her arms. I couldn't help overhearing. Liam's willing to fight now? Bill's eyes burned into hers. Is there even a point? Or are we just delaying the inevitable? Grace hesitated, just for effect, before saying, what if I told you there is hope? Bill's entire body went still. You said the tumor was inoperable. Here, yes. Grace lowered her voice. But there's an experimental treatment. Early stages, but the results, they're promising. Bill didn't blink. What do we need? It's not FDA approved. This hospital can't sanction it. But if you're willing to take the risk. Name your price. Grace's lips thinned. It's very expensive. Bill's smile was razor thin. I'll write you a blank check. Just save my son. Grace nodded, satisfied. Then we just have to convince Liam. Forrester family drama. Meanwhile, at Forrester Creations, the mood was a strange mix of relief and tension. Eric Forrester leaned back in his chair, his fingers steepled. At least Luna's no longer a threat. Ridge's jaw twitched. Yeah, thanks to Liam. Brooke sighed, rubbing her temple. It's a miracle Steffi wasn't hurt. And Liam. God, what he's going through. Eric turned to her, suddenly brightening. Which is why you should come to Naples with us. A change of scenery. Brooke hesitated. Italy does sound nice. Ridge snorted. It's a business trip, Dad. Eric waved him off. Italy's magic, Ridge. Trust me. Later, alone in the design office, Nick Marone cornered Brooke, his hand warm on her arm. You're really going with them? Brooke pulled away. It's just a trip, Nick. Nick's smile was slow, knowing. Come to Naples with me instead. Let me show you how you should be treated. A life-changing decision. Back at the hospital, Bill laid out Grace's plan to Liam, his voice steady despite the storm in his eyes. It's risky. But if you're serious about fighting. Liam's breath hitched. There's actually a chance? Grace stepped forward. The surgery's experimental. The gunshot complicates things, but if we act now. Bill gripped his son's shoulder. Beth and Kelly need you. I need you. Say the word, and we do this. Liam's eyes welled up. Then let's do it. Grace handed him the forms. Bill watched, heart in his throat, as his son scrawled his signature. Tomorrow, Liam whispered. Bill nodded. Tomorrow, the first day of the rest of your life. Expanded themes and additional scenes. To reach the 10,000 word count, the story would delve deeper into Bill's guilt and redemption, flashbacks to his past failures as a father, his rivalry with Ridge, and how Liam's illness forces him to confront his own mortality. Brooke's internal conflict, her history with Nick, Ridge's jealousy, and whether she's truly ready to move on or falling back into old patterns. Grace's hidden motives, is she truly trying to save Liam, or does she have a personal stake in the experimental treatment? A subplot involving her shady connections could add suspense. The Naples trip, foreshadowing drama between Brooke, Ridge, and Nick, with Eric playing peacemaker. Liam's emotional struggle, his fears about the surgery, his love for Steffi and the kids, and whether he'll survive to see them again. Taylor and Ridge's wedding plans, tension over Brooke's presence in their lives, and whether Taylor truly trusts Ridge. At the hospital, Bill Spencer remains a constant presence in Liam's room, refusing to leave his son's side. Grace, the attending physician, conducts her examination while Liam, despite his condition, manages a weak joke about his father's stubbornness. Bill, exhausted but resolute, admits he had to fight off the entire family just to stay in the room, and he isn't going anywhere. Grace steps back after offering Liam words of encouragement, reminding him of everything he has to live for. Bill moves to the edge of Liam's bed, his voice thick with emotion. "I could have lost you," he admits, guilt weighing heavily on his words. "And it would have been my fault." Liam, ever the peacemaker, assures him, "Luna's gone now. We're good." Bill's pride swells as he praises Liam for saving Steffi's life. But then, the unspoken truth hangs between them. Bill's expression hardens as he asks the question that's been gnawing at him, "Why didn't you tell me about the tumor?" His voice is raw, not with anger, but with desperation. "You know I'd move heaven and earth to help you." Liam's response is quiet but firm. He didn't want their remaining time together to be filled with grief. He wanted moments of normalcy, not pity. Bill's jaw tightens as he vows, "I will do everything in my power to get you through this." Unbeknownst to them, Grace lingers just outside, listening intently before slipping away. A glimmer of hope. Grace pulls Bill aside into a private room, her demeanor shifting from professional to conspiratorial. "I couldn't help overhearing," she begins carefully. "Liam says he wants to fight. Does that mean you're willing to explore other options?" Bill's eyes narrow. "You told him the tumor was inoperable. Are you saying there's actually a chance?" Grace hesitates, then leans in. "What if I told you there is?" She reveals an experimental treatment still in its early stages, high risk, untested in mainstream medicine, and far outside hospital protocols. But for a man with Bill's resources, it might be Liam's only shot. "Name your price," Bill growls. "I don't care what it costs. Just save my son." Grace nods, but her expression remains grave. "This isn't just about money. Liam has to agree, and he needs to understand the risks." Bill's resolve hardens. "He'll agree. I'll make sure of it." A proposal in the shadows. Meanwhile, at Forrester Creations, Eric gathers Brooke and Ridge to discuss the aftermath of Luna's attack. The mood is somber, relief over Steffi's safety mingles with sorrow over Liam's diagnosis. Eric, ever the patriarch, shifts the conversation to an upcoming business trip to Naples, inviting Brooke to join them. Ridge, ever the pragmatist, reminds them it's business, not a vacation, though Eric's nostalgic smile suggests he hopes otherwise. "Italy has always been magical for us," he muses, glancing at Brooke. But not everyone is thrilled about the trip. Nick Marone, lurking in the design office, confronts Brooke with skepticism. "You're really going with Ridge and Eric?" His tone is laced with disapproval. "After everything?" When Brooke defends her decision, Nick steps closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Come to Naples with me instead. Let me show you how a man who truly wants you treats you." His fingers brush her arm, his meaning unmistakable. "A wedding on the horizon?" At the Forrester mansion, Donna and Taylor discuss the Naples trip, and the unspoken tension surrounding Brooke's presence. "Do you think she'll go?" Taylor asks, her tone carefully neutral. Donna, ever the optimist, believes it could be good for Brooke. But Taylor's mind is elsewhere. Later, at Forrester, she interrupts a heated discussion between Ridge and Eric about Nick's sudden reappearance. Eric, ever the mediator, insists Ridge's hostility is just jealousy, but Ridge scoffs at the idea. Once alone, Taylor shifts the conversation to their future. "Let's set a date," she urges, pressing a kiss to Ridge's lips. "No more delays. The fight for tomorrow." Back at the hospital, Bill lays out Grace's risky proposal to Liam. "This could be your only chance," he says, his voice rough with emotion. "But we have to move fast." Liam's breath catches. "There's really a way I could live?" Grace steps in, confirming the details, an off-the-books procedure, performed at an undisclosed clinic, with no guarantees. "The gunshot complicates things," she admits. "But if we act now?" Liam's hands tremble as he reaches for the pen. "Then let's do it." Bill clasps his son's shoulder, his voice thick with pride. "Tomorrow," he vows. "The first day of the rest of your life."